As you might know, I am in India as you listen to this. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to give you a podcast that's kind of a replay of a little section of my big Kickstart 2025 workshop that I did for anybody who has the Moonology Diary 2025. I hope the people who bought the diary don't mind me sharing this short excerpt from what was actually about a 90-minute, an hour and a half workshop. Here's about 20 minutes from it, just talking about the four main astrological energies of the year ahead. If you don't have the diary yet, you can still get a copy if you're lucky. I don't know if it's sold out yet or not. You can get a copy from www.moonmessages.com/my diary, www.moonmessages.com/my diary, and you can hear the whole workshop in there. All right, so let's take a look at the four key astrological events that are coming up this year, and it really is quite a big deal. I think I say on the back of the diary that we are moving into uncharted waters, and the reason why I said that is because we have not had this kind of astrological energetic shift for a very, very, very long time. We did have Pluto going backwards and forwards, and Pluto's massive, so that's why there's been a lot of changes, but this is also huge. So let's just go through them. So the first is the move of Neptune into Aries, which is happening on March the 30th. Now, Neptune is the planet of the divine. It's the planet of mysticism, escapism. It's where we sort of check out of reality and check in with the cosmic. And so it's a new cycle for all things mystical. It's also interesting because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it's the me sign. And as you will have seen now, if you've started to understand astrology a bit, we all have Aries somewhere in our chart, whether it rules your rising sign or your love zone or your money zone or wherever. So it is going to be a new start, and I think it's going to make people more mystical. But it is also, Aries is the sign that's associated with the planet Mars, which is the god of war. So let's hope that it's going to bring some kind of idealism to the idea of actually laying down our guns. Okay, that's kind of a very optimistic view, but let's hope that's the case. Then we get Saturn in Aries. So that's why I said it's so important to know which sign rules Aries. So if you don't already know, go to the section, the new moon in Aries. I'll just tell you where it is, in fact. How about that? New moon in Aries. Where are you? New moon in Aries. Sorry, guys. Just give me a second. There it is, page 80. And then whichever, look at the how to work with this moon. Then go to page 12 to 15. I think it's actually a bit earlier than that. Let's have a look. 12 to 15. Yeah, no. So actually go to page 9 and see what that house rules. And that's where you know you're going to have this mystical cosmic Neptune energy, but also Saturn is moving into that part of your chart as well. So it's very rare to have these planets in the same place at the same time. So Saturn is very much about discipline. And because we've got Neptune in Aries as well, it's about being disciplined and getting grounded in order to manifest your dreams. Plus we have the planet of good luck and good times, Jupiter, moving into the sign of Cancer. So if you happen to be Cancerian, it's very good news for you because Jupiter will go over your sun. But it's also very much about expanding, because Jupiter's about expansion and improvement, anything to do with home and family. So maybe there's going to be tough times out in the world, and home and family are going to become even more important. And then July 7, we have the great disruptor, Uranus, moving into the sign of Gemini. Very much about chaos, liberation, and lots of changes. I will get into that more in a minute. Let's just start then by looking at Neptune's move into Aries. So let's say it's about new dreams, because Neptune's the planet of dreams. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and Aries is very courageous as well because it's ruled by Mars, the planet that just rushes in. Neptune's about dreams, intuition, spirituality. So moving into Aries, it's very much about asking us to just take courageous leaps. That's the Aries thing. Blending our intuition, very Neptunian, with action. Aries is all about action, to really make a new start and to really start to envisage your life, whatever it is that you want. Yeah, rewrite your story, harness the dream energy to create a new future, and also, your dream warrior. So just to really get in touch with the part of you that knows that we're all connected to all life everywhere. Maybe you want to explore the angels or the goddess or the celestial realms. It's very much a restart for mysticism, and I think we've had this explosion of mysticism in the past few years. So I think it's going to see some of us starting to really do things differently when it comes to our spirituality. It's very exciting. All right, so now at this point, this is pretty much where the recording picks up from the live. So I will just move forward one, and now I'm going to stitch them together. Thank you for listening. I'm very happy to have had this second chance, and over to the recording. All right, so basically Neptune moving into Aries is huge. Like, Neptune has been in Pisces for the longest time, and finally it's going to change signs. So there's a couple of things to really know about Neptune. Neptune is about dreams, intuition, spirituality. Aries is very bold and courageous. So when we put these together, it's going to be very much a case of a whole new age dawning when it comes to mysticism and magic and intuition. So I think we can already see that happening in the world, can't we? Because already people are really starting to talk more about manifesting, to realize it's actually real, to know that we are all much more magical than we think, that there's more to life than meets the eye. I follow this page on Facebook, which seems to come up every night with a new story of people having near-death experiences, which I find really fascinating. So it's going to be more about realizing that mysticism really is real, and us all being a lot bolder about going for it. And it's going to be about learning how to blend, as I say here, blending intuition with action. Okay, so one thing we do always in Moonology is we don't just make wishes and just cross our fingers. We make wishes and we take action. So Aries is very much an action sign, so it's going to be about that. But it's also about mysticism and dreaming up your future, and also about having the courage to really chase your dreams. Someone said, what did Rick say? I actually just rang Rick and said, we should do a conference because it's going to be so incredible, all the changes. And he was like, he actually replied and said, I'm just about to go on stage at a conference, but yes, let's do one. So now we'll see if we do one. So where is this in your chart? Now I'm going to run through it really quickly. Okay, and then wherever this is happening is where you're getting a lot more mysticism and dreams and imagination, but also Neptune has a downside. All the planets have positive and negative. It can be quite confusing. Okay, so all right, if you are Aries rising, it's actually taking place in your first house, which means that your whole life is going to be imbued with this new magical, mystical energy, but also it could be a bit more confusion as well. So the idea is to meditate, talk things through, journal, whatever you need to do in whichever part of your life I'm going to talk about, to try and get clarity, because Neptune's the confusing planet as well as the inspirational planet. If you are Taurus rising, then it's taking place in your 12th house. All right. Now I wrote down what that is. You wrote that down. That's your fear zone. So it can be a bit of confusion, but it's also a very mystical thing for anyone who's Taurus rising. It's a very mystical cycle you're moving into. Gemini rising, it's moving into your 11th house, which is friends. So expect more mystical friends. Okay. Cancerians, moon children, it's taking place in your 10th house, so it's going to be a time of moving into a more inspirational period in your career, but also possibly confusing. Leo rising, it's in your 9th house. So like the ideal expression of this would be, traveling the world and going to all the sacred sites or studying mysticism. Virgo rising, it's taking place in your 8th house of sex and money. So great time for tantric sex, not a great time to let anyone bamboozle you about cash. Libra rising, it's taking place in your 7th house. Now, anyone here who's Libra rising, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on for you guys. Oh, you are, Alexandra, because it's your 7th house of relationships. So it can be a time of meeting a very inspirational person, and it can also be careful of meeting someone who's a little bit dodgy. So you've got to be careful, Alexandra, and any other Libra rising people. Scorpio rising is taking place in your 6th house. Really good time to have a regular meditation practice. That's probably the best expression of that, getting mysticism in your life and in every day, and that's going to raise your vibration, make you more powerful manifestor. Sagittarius rising, it's taking place in your 5th house of romance, creativity, and children. How long is the workshop? I'm aiming for an hour, but I usually go over. Sag rising, so really it's about having fun with your spirituality. Capricorn rising, it's taking place in your 4th house of home and family. So that's actually quite nice. It can be a real shot of magic and mysticism into your personal life, also confusion potentially. So again, you have to walk that line. Aquarius rising, it's taking place in your 3rd house. So that means more thinking about mystical stuff. It's very much about reading books about mysticism, and also really learning the power of manifesting. And then finally, Pisces rising, it's taking place in your 2nd house. So a really, really good time to start earning your living using mysticism. Okay? Jules, why is it the rising signs, not the sun signs? Because that's just how astrology works. I can't really explain it at length here, but in a nutshell, if you do a chart based on your time, date, and place of birth, then you will get the information that I just gave you. All right, so now let's have a look at Saturn. So Neptune's really beautiful and wafty and lovely, and Saturn's like the opposite. It's down to earth, it's lessons, fears, challenges, obstacles, concrete, down to earth. So wherever I mention, the house I mention for you now is where you're going to get a shot of reality, because Saturn's moving back into Aries on May the 25th for the first time in about 30 years, okay? So blend discipline with dreams for grounded success. All right, so if you're Aries rising, well, actually, it's actually exactly the same house that we just went through, so we don't need to do it again. So what's interesting about this, okay, is having Saturn and Neptune in the same sign, is that they are the manifesting combination, okay? They are the manifesting power couple, because Neptune is the planet of dreams and imagination, okay? Saturn is the planet that makes things real and brings them down to earth. Okay, so wherever I just mentioned, you are going to have some challenges to deal with. Okay, there are going to be challenges as well as all the positive of the dreams and the magic and the mysticism. Okay, however, it's also where you are going to have extra powers when it comes to manifesting. Does that make sense, that you are going to have an increased ability to manifest? Linda Wells, do you know what I'm talking about? Yes, says Anik. Fantastic. Just let me know in the chat, Linda, does it make any sense? Karina, it makes sense. Kelly, great, great, great. So just so I know, you just give me a thumbs up, Linda. I don't want to freak you out by calling your name. Yay, thank you. You're just on my screen, so I just said hello. All right. Jeanette Fletcher, does it make sense? Thumbs up. Excellent. Who else have we got here? How are you, Miranda Kent? Miranda's one of my Manuminology members. Does it make sense? She's always all over it. All right, okay. So far what we've done is we've talked about Aries. Now, the house that's come up for you is the most important house in your chart in the year ahead. Now, I saw some people going, can you say Gemini again? Can you say Cancer again? I just refer you to this diary, okay, the new moon in Aries, okay, hang on, new moon in Aries is, what page is it on quickly? Okay, it's on page 80. The new moon in Aries, if you missed it, do what I said at the start. Go to the thing where it says how to work with this new moon. So that's actually page 82. And whichever house the new moon in Aries is, if it's your third house, or your fifth house, or your ninth house, or whatever, that's the same as the Neptune and Saturn energy. Basically, whichever house you've got Aries, which is ruled by Aries, is where you have a chance to learn amazing lessons and create stuff. Let me just bring it all back. Let's just, instead of trying to drill down on what it means for everyone, just know that this year is about manifesting, okay? It's about dreaming the dreams. Dream the dream, okay? Neptune is triggered. Dream the dream and then do the hard work that's required, and you will see that you are a more powerful manifester, full stop. It's a really, really big year for that. It's also a year of being more abundant in your personal life, in your home, when it comes to family, because Jupiter, the planet of good times, is moving into the sign of Cancer, okay? And essentially what that means is it's very good for family situations and for people who feel like family. Okay, it's going to be about creating a beautiful home, creating a sanctuary, being loving, forgiving the people who drive us crazy, and generally just starting to really think about our personal life with a more optimistic view, all right? And then we've got this big one as well, July the 7th, Uranus is changing signs and moving into Gemini. Now, obviously, these are all written about more in depth in here, okay? I'm just kind of giving you the big picture here, okay? So Uranus into Gemini is huge. For one thing, Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus for a long time, and those of you who have been following me for a while know that at the start of the Uranus in Taurus thing, we talked about Bitcoin. And I said to someone at dinner last night, well, you know, Uranus in Taurus was supposed to explode Bitcoin. And someone said, Yasmin, it's at the highest it's ever been. So it's kind of done its work. The only thing is that everybody has it now, so it doesn't quite earn people as much money as it did. But it's been all about the disruption, potential disruption of cryptocurrency. And now as it moves into Gemini, it's going to be about the disruption of communications. Okay, it's going to be about just crazy communications. There's a really strong masculine energy coming up. When I saw all this and I thought of it in the frame of the American election, I didn't really say anything because I didn't want to make any predictions, but it did. I swear to God on my honor, may God, as my mother says, may God strike me blind if I'm not telling the truth, although she doesn't have that accent at all. But, you know, I swear to God on my honor, may God strike me blind. I thought, okay, it's going to be like what we have, which is Trump and Musk. Very, very bro. There's a lot of bro energy coming in. But I feel like that means what we need to do is we need to bring the feminine energy. Someone's saying my first thought with all of this is war. Yeah, I hope that's not right. But the reason why that person said that is because Aries is very much a sign of war because it's ruled by Mars, the god of war. Now, is it going to lead to war? Well, yes and no. The positive aspect of this, to whoever said that, is very much that Saturn is the planet that puts the brakes on. You know, it's this planet that says stop. So it can actually be putting the brakes on war. Someone's saying the fall of social media. That's an interesting one. I mean, maybe, especially with Pluto and Aquarius, which is sort of, you know, humanity all joined up, and we've had Neptune in Pisces, which has joined us up. We'll see. But really what you need to think about is this year, Uranus in Gemini, Uranus will disrupt one part of your chart. Look at the new moon in Gemini in the diary, find out which house is ruled by Gemini, and that's where you're going to have big disruption. There's going to be more of the whole AI thing. Uranus is very much the planet of technology. Gemini is the sign of communication. So it's just going to be more AI, more craziness, more deep fakes, all that kind of stuff. But really, on a positive note, it's very much about just shaking things up in the way we communicate. Now, I'm not sure it's going to be entirely positive. I feel like there's a lot of challenges coming up in all of this. But I think overall, if we stay conscious, I think the world is now getting to a place where we are starting to realise we are creating our own reality. And there is going to be an upcoming Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which we haven't had for many years. And that is all about, like I said, about manifestation, and it's about realizing that manifestation is real. And at the end of the day, the more people that realize this, the more we can all start to try and live consciously and try and consciously create a better world. So I'm not really too concerned, although I do live in a bubble of people who, you know, who are manifestors. But I think we can guide this in the right direction. All right. I hope you enjoyed this excerpt from the Kickstart 2025 workshop that I did for people who bought my Moonology Diary 2025. If you'd like to hear the whole workshop, all you need to do is grab a copy of the Moonology Diary 2025 and register it at moonmessages.com/my diary. That's moonmessages.com/my diary. Once you get registered, you'll go into the system and then we will send you a copy of the entire workshop. Have a great week and thanks for listening.